I'd like to call to order the City of Belton Planning Commission meeting. This is May 7th. Could we have the roll call, please?
Chairman McPherson,
Here.
Mayor Larkey,
Here.
Councilmember Pryan,
Here.
Commissioner Crate, Commissioner McDonough,
Here.
Commissioner Monahan Bass, Commissioner Walton,
Here.
Commissioner Wilson.
All right, thank you. Several items this evening will be under public hearing and as well as some non-public hearings, but the first item we have will be the approval of our minutes from the April 2nd meeting. Those have been printed and distributed, and you should all have seen those. Are there any additions, corrections, subtractions that need to be made? If not, would entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion. We approve the April 2nd Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Second.
And thank you for the second. Any final comments? Seeing none, all in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, the first public hearing, and we will call that to order at this time, is for RZ 2024-01, an application for rezoning from R2, two-family residential, to R2 PUD, two-family residential planned unit development for properties generally located on the northeast side of 2nd Street between Herschel and Hackberry Streets. And this will be presented by our city planner, Ms. Fernandez.
Thank you, Chair. An application was filed to rezone from R2 to R2 PUD and preliminary plat in 0.89 acre block between Herschel Street and Hackberry Street on the north side of 2nd Street into 11 lots and 1 tract to develop 11 single-family homes with detached garages, a central gathering space, and the subject property is bound by single-family homes and the City Hall Annex. To get some background on this project, the city issued an RFP in October 2023. The proposal for 11 single-family homes from Elevate Design Build was chosen as the best proposal for the site in December 2023. Staff requested that a neighborhood meeting be held in February 2024 after the development proposal was reviewed, and approximately 10 to 15 residents attended and provided feedback, which staff used to shape the final proposal to Planning Commission. The Planning Commission then denied the development proposal on the April 2nd meeting based on the feedback of 2 narrow side setbacks and wanting additional 2-story units. Those changes were incorporated by shrinking down the green space, reprogramming it, and increasing the side setbacks, as well as adding 2-story elevations. Currently, the site is platted as 12 24-foot wide lots, where 10 single-family homes could be built without any Planning Commission or City Council approval, and without any of the road improvements or amenities that are currently in the proposal right now. Page 2 of the staff report shows the table of some of the proposed changes in the development proposal. This plan currently meets all site design requirements except for the following standards highlighted in orange in your packet to be approved with the PUD. Currently proposed, the lot sizes, the minimum lot sizes are 3,216 square feet, which has increased from the previous proposal, and the minimum lot widths are 24 feet, which is no change from what's currently existing on the property. The front setback hasn't changed, which is 12 feet. The minimum setback for the monument sign has changed to no setback. And a couple of notes on this table. Our current zoning code is a little out of date and unrealistic for downtown lot sizes. And most of our downtown lots do not meet some of these current R2 zoning standards. The 3 visitor spaces that was previously in the green space has been removed in this concept, and the total parking count has decreased to 38 total spaces. The plat includes 11 lots and 1 tract. The lots range in size from 3,216 to 3,816 square feet, with 24 to 27 foot wide lots, which is the same as what's existing plus a little bit bigger. The larger lots are located on either side of the development, allowing for larger side yards on the corner lots. And Tract A, which is 2,412 square feet and 18 feet wide, contains the proposed central gathering space and monument sign to be maintained by the HOA. The homes are proposed to range between 1,478 square feet to 1,680 square feet and have 4 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms with front porches. Each home includes a single-car detached garage with a single-space driveway, which meets all parking requirements. Additionally, there are approximately 16 on-street parking spaces to be included with the development plan, as well as full street improvements, curb, gutter, and bump outs. Tract A, located in the center of the block, includes a sidewalk connection through the site, a gathering space with a masonry fireplace, seating, benches, and string lights, as well as the view monument sign, which is changed from the last proposal. The proposed preliminary landscape plan includes all required street trees, yard trees, foundation plantings, as well as some additional shrubs along the corner lots. The center green space includes trees, grasses, as well as decorative rock beds that filter stormwater runoff. The 5-foot side yards between each of the houses are proposed to be river rock to aid with maintenance and erosion. The proposed development plan includes a variety of housing elevations, ranging from single-story to 2-story with varying roof heights and window locations to provide visual interest along the block. And the single-story units have fully finished basements, while the 2-story units would be on slab. Each housing type does include a front porch and either a covered or uncovered back patio, which provides a variety of outdoor spaces with each home. These homes are proposed to be for sale and would sell with the 10-year tax abatement or 353 that exists in downtown, which will help keep residents in downtown as property taxes increase with new development. This development proposal meets our goals for providing more housing diversity for all ages and incomes, which is listed in our comprehensive plan chapter for housing. Staff believes that this proposal is a great example of infill housing and a strategy that could be repeated to bring more flexible and affordable housing types to Belton. Staff recommends approval of this application with the 3 conditions listed in the staff report. And I'll just flip through some of these 3D renderings of the site so you guys can see the changes. We've added the 2-story units here and the varying 1-story units. This is an aerial view of the center green space. It's now more of a trail with trees and the fireplace and string lights that I had mentioned. And then the rear-loaded alley garages. So the applicants here, they will say a few words if you guys don't mind.
And we'd be glad to have them. So, someone like to speak on behalf of the applicant? If you would just state your name for the record, please.
And then the folder's open.
Just click play.
Click play. Then if you scroll down this folder right here.
Folder. Okay.
Yeah.
We can just watch the video. Thank you very much. My name is Sean Flanemeyer. I'm one of the owners of Elevate Design Plus Build, and I was asked to show something that we've done in another community like this. So we're very familiar with working on infill projects. We're excited about it, and we think Belton has a ton of potential, especially on the site. We feel like we've really tried hard to accommodate the community. Even driving through today, it was neat to see people walking up and down the street, and then also seeing the park finished over here. I think this would be a nice complement to it. I was asked to show a video of what we've experienced in another community in Kansas City. It's called Manheim Park. And really, this is a community which is not even comparable to Belton, but this is a community that was pretty blighted, probably, 10 years ago. And now this is a community that's thriving with new residents, and even half the homes that we sold in this community were purchased by residents that lived in the community. So hopefully this works here.
Hi friends, Jim Dilly here. Hey, thanks for taking a couple of minutes of your day to meet some of our newest residents right here in Manheim Park. Latest development brought to you by the folks from Elevate Design and Build.
Before we moved to this house, we were living, I think, 4 blocks up, and watched one of the Elevate houses go up across the street. And we asked if we could have a peek on it, and it just kind of all went from there. We moved from one house on this street to another house on this street, upgraded from a 115-year-old house to brand new, custom built for us house.
Been in this neighborhood for quite a while. About 34, 35 years. Yeah, we've seen the ups and downs of this neighborhood. It's turning to the ups now. They started building these houses over here. I walked up the streets one day and he said, "Do you like this house?" I said, "Yeah, I like it." I said, "But I like it down on my end, you know."
Right around a year and a half ago, I was ready for the process of buying a home. We were intrigued by living in this neighborhood already and seeing the progress that they had been doing with prior homes, and it just fit our visual as to what we kind of saw ourselves in.
We just moved here from St. Louis not too long ago and purchased a wonderful little home in Manheim Park, kind of in the middle of a pandemic and a bit of a housing shortage over here. But, you know, we were fortunate enough to look up Elevate's properties, and they were right in the middle of building a house. Made a few phone calls, and next thing you know, we settled on a new build in Manheim Park.
So we did a little bit more investigating as to, hey, is there homes that are still available for us to pursue? And we're really excited that we found the home that we do believe fits everything that we want in a dream home. So that's what excites us most.
Like, if you're looking, you know how crazy it is. So the fact that you don't have to deal with that, and at the end of it, you have a beautiful house that's 10-year tax abated, is huge, in my opinion. So just like from a financial aspect, this place makes so much sense. So.
And where else can you live in a historic neighborhood but also get a garage, get brand new updated features? It's hard to do that in these neighborhoods that have a lot of history and character. The older homes are great and beautiful, but they don't have the amenities. And so to be able to build a brand new house with those things is just invaluable. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Elevate and Sean catered to every need and every desire that we wanted in the house. You know, we had certain things that we wanted: a gas stove, wood floors, and they turned on a dime to make that happen for us in our timeline too. So really impressed with the team and getting all that ready for us to move in on time. So thanks, guys.
This is a nice, quiet neighborhood now, and
Centrally located.
It is central located. You're close to the plaza. If you don't want to take your car, you can walk to the plaza. You can walk to Nelson Art Gallery. You got a park that's close, and so it's a nice place for you to raise children too. So
Yeah.
It has always been important for me to have the boys raised in a community that is diverse and really reflects the city that we want to be a part of, that we live in, and we feel like we get to have that diversity in Manheim Park.
Elevate's a great company to work with, and the neighborhood as a whole has been really welcoming for us coming in as new residents. So I would say just do it. It's great. I don't think you'll regret it.
We want you as neighbors.
Yeah.
We love living here. The proximity to everything is incredible. Whether you're a younger couple or an older couple with kids or no kids, it's super friendly, and there's lots available. Park close by, coffee shops, new things are popping up every day, which is really fun and exciting. And if you get in now, you can watch the neighborhood really grow and blossom from here.
Before it gets crazy, I mean, like, business is booming, you know? So someone's gonna live in these houses.
Might as well be
Might as
you.
well be you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and got to know some of our newest residents and their stories just a little bit. If you saw
I won't have Jim sell any houses, but that's not paid, not paid actors. I get a little choked up because we worked really hard on that project, and it continues to be difficult. And I think a lot of it comes from we could choose to do things that you don't struggle on, quite honestly. And I don't know why, but we always try to do the hard stuff. And this video, I didn't intend to get like that, but we work really hard down there. Doing infill work takes more than just being a builder. You can't, I understand there's been complaints from the community, but we know we gotta have a connection with the community. It's important that, you know, I think Mr. Larkey, you're here tonight, you're right behind, right? That's your White House? Is that your house, right behind there? I mean, we know there's stuff that can interrupt your life. We try to be respectful. We have a process for it. And quite honestly, this is one community with 38 homes that we've now built. We had a national builder call us in to fix their problems in downtown Kansas City, which was another 118 homes. And we have the attention of Melissa Patterson-Hasley of 3rd District for the performance that we have. And we're going to meet her personally for an RFP that may have just been released on the news recently for the 42 lots in Washington Wheatley. So the point is that we're really passionate about what we do. And I don't know why I'm getting emotional today. Maybe need to eat dinner or something, but it's because it's hard and it's not for everybody. You know, I know there's competition that posts in an apartment building over here, but that's not the way. It's hard to do. It's risky. So I guess I can keep going through photos. We're super proud of what we put together. We'd really like to see this project work for us and the community. And I believe that once we do this one, they're super cute homes. They're going to fit really nice. And I think that you'd be pleased with them and the community members that move in. I think you'll find examples that we had in Manheim Park. Oddly Correct was a new coffee spot that moved in. Equal Minded Cafe got more residents stopping by, and it continued to create more community. And I think that's what we like to see, and we also get involved. So, yeah, I didn't intend to get all emotional about it, but obviously it's a struggle. But we appreciate it. If you guys want, I can show more photos. You guys want to see any more photos of the renderings?
I think at this point, I think that was a great presentation. Appreciate you bringing that.
Sure.
I think that really kind of encapsulated what your dream is and what you do, what
All
you
right.
have the capability of doing. Appreciate
Thank you.
that. Since this is an open public hearing, I will open it for anyone that would like to speak, either in favor or in opposition to the proposal. I would just go over a few of the rules that we would ask you to be aware of and maintain during the meeting. And that would be that you would come to the microphone, state your name, your address for the record so that the secretary can make note of that, and speak for no more than 5 minutes. And if someone has already stated what you wanted to state, ask that you not just get up and say it all over again for them. If they've stated it well, we have heard that. But you know, if there is additional comments or anything like that, you're definitely, you do have the opportunity to speak either in favor or in opposition. So,
Hi there.
hi.
Thank you, folks, for having the meeting tonight. My name is Wanda Thompson. I live at 1100 Main Street, and I am the council seat for Ward 4. And I know that development is coming. I am excited about downtown making a change. I'm excited about new families moving in, but I represent new families that are already here, and I want to make you aware of the fact that we need to go in with our eyes wide open with this developer. There are issues that have been coming to my attention pretty regularly about some really pretty shoddy things that has been done in the past that I won't go into, but I have copies of photos. But we need to go in with our eyes wide open about some issues that have come to my attention just recently. Once again, I'm Wanda Thompson, representing Ward 4.
Okay, thank you, Wanda. Anyone else?
I'm Chris Richardson, 704 Main Street. I'm the council member for Ward 3. I didn't see, in the video, I didn't see one of the houses that was 14 feet wide, or most of those 20. So we went down and looked at 40th and Tracy around there and looked at quite a few of them, and most of them are 20 foot wide. And I'm okay with the 20 foot wide. The 14 foot wide, to me, is a little bit too narrow. The 20 foot wides, they do look good. But I also measured between the houses, and there's 19 feet between the houses that I've seen, which is still with your egress window. I think the egress window stood out about 5 foot from the house, and there was no railings around any of them that I saw. So you could be walking down there and just fall in them. But if we're going closer, and you got a 5 foot egress window that sticks out, there's not much space in between the two houses. I'm not against this project. I like it. I'm just worried about the 14 foot wide houses and maybe going a little bit wider. That's me. Also, my son bought a house that was through Sally Homes. Sally said that they contracted it through Elevate. My son hadn't been able to use his garage door for 2 months. The garage doors that they put on there were super thin. They weren't installed right. First use it jammed and ripped the whole top panel off. I did talk to Sean, and they did send a guy out there and got it at least where he could open it, but he can't hook a garage door to it, and garage door opener to even open the garage door because the panel's still bent. And I know that's not them. I know that's more on Sally than it is them. But the warranty through Sally is, and that was supposed to be fixed before they ever even went into the house. Sally convinced them to go ahead and sign it. They'd have somebody out there, never did. So he's been dealing with this for 2 months. Other than that, I mean, I haven't seen anything wrong with the house. I mean, I've gone over there and done a couple things for him. So I don't think it's bad. I just don't want them to save the little dollars on like a garage door and use the cheapest one they could possibly use that's going to fall apart within a week of owning the house. You know, just the little things like that. So that's my only concern. I'm not crazy about the 14 feet. The 20 feet, I'm okay with, I like. And some of those were mostly 2 stories with a basement. So that's my 2 cents on it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Chairman, could I respond to his comments?
Yes, you want to make sure your mic is turned on.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, there, thank you.
Those homes that we did build for Salee Development are also spec'd and priced and supplied by Salee Development. We are the general contractor, and I was aware, once I was notified of Cody Richardson's problem, I did support to get it fixed through them. It did take a phone call to me and their leadership team to get it done. But I would say that as a builder, if you were down in Midtown, you'd also see a distinct difference in the materials that were supplied on those homes. Also, the price point was different. Those homes that you walked down there were $489 and $504, and I can assure you that those garage doors were 115 mile an hour rated and not the same ones. So while I'd agree about the quality, many of the things that were in that project, we don't have full control over as the project manager.
Okay, thank you. All right, anyone else?
My name is Brett White, 608 Mallory Drive, Belton. I'm also Ward 4 councilperson. I'm here to express, first of all, I'm not against the project. I like the houses. I think there might be some issues, but what is it? But my concern again is in traditions, there's quite a few houses that have some issues that I think are significantly. And while I'm not an inspector, when you have no boxes and you're hanging your chandeliers or your stuff and all you're doing is screwing it into the, God, I'm old and I'm forgetting the word I want to use. Drywalls, and then just the wires are there, hold it. I just don't think that's good work. And I'm hoping that the quality of work that comes to this project is can be reassured that we won't have that kind of work, and that for those who have that kind of problems over at Traditions, that maybe they can get some help getting that fixed. So,
Thank you. All right. Anyone else like to speak from the public?
Greg Larkey, 620 Main. I just have some questions. Are the single-family homes basements finished?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it R2 multifamily instead of R1?
All of downtown was rezoned to R2.
Are
So
all
all-
rezoned? So what you're saying is you guys could pass this, change the zoning and all that. They could change the plan and make it duplexes.
No. So
Yes.
part
If
of,
it's zoned that way, they can do that.
so the public hearing is on an R2 PUD, which is its own zoning district. So everything proposed in this plan will be part of that PUD. So everything proposed here would have to be built based on the approval.
What if they don't sell them? Then the lots stay empty? If they don't, because I read it, if they sell, they're gonna build 3, and if none of them sell, do they have to build the rest of them and just sit there empty?
If they don't sell them, they can come back and amend the PUD with a different proposal.
There's what I'm getting at. They can amend the PUD and make it whatever they want.
It would still go through the same process, just like we're here today. That's
Okay.
that's any development
understand that.
process.
Has the ground been sold yet?
It has not.
Has it been offered to the public other than the RFD, whatever you guys put out?
The RFP process was the process of a potential buyer or developer making an option.
Just a developer? Because did it come out in the paper that you could buy that ground?
No, it was published on our website as an RFP.
Okay. So it didn't come to the public, it just went on the website, and if you wasn't watching the website, you didn't see it?
That is still public, but yes, it was only
Well, I
on the
agree,
website.
okay. I did have one other question, I can't remember what it was. Imagine that. If I think of it, I reserve the right to come back and talk.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, either in favor or in opposition?
I don't want to break anything. Stephanie Davidson is my name. My address is 847 Creekmore Pond Lane, Raymore, Missouri. My name is Stephanie Davidson, and I was on the city council when the home on 2nd Street was purchased by the city. It was my understanding at the time that we were making a local investment in land banking for unknown future development opportunities. Anyone who lives here knows how limited our housing market is. For decades, we've struggled to attract residential developers despite the fact that we have so many of the amenities that homebuyers are looking for. I have been following this development opportunity and am thrilled that this developer has chosen Belton and recognizes the potential in our Main Street district. So many aspects of this project are positives for the community, including the developers addressing much-needed infrastructure improvements. The price point of these homes will immediately benefit surrounding homes. More families near Main Street mean more business for Main Street. And probably the best part yet, in my opinion, the developer hasn't asked for a dime from taxpayers. In so many ways, this proposal is the one that you hope to see from your investment. I challenge everyone in this room to do a real estate search for new homes within the proposed price range of this development. I myself checked this morning. There are 12 new homes in Belton within this price range, all of them unfinished construction currently. 4 of them are already under contract. And we're talking about 3-bed, 2-bath, so not even the amenities that these homes will have. These homes will sell immediately. Thank you to the developer for being committed to this important process, hearing the concerns from the April 2nd meeting and coming back with a revised proposal. I truly hope that this passes and gives more families the opportunity to experience everything that Belton has to offer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Mellinger. I live at 704 Main Street, just right down the street, not directly in front of these lots, but cornered from them. My question is, and I don't have any problem with the style of the home, and I know the price point is what it is, but is there not a way to remove the park and double the size of the house and just put it on 2 lots and just make it bigger? Because I feel like in Belton, we have a lot of houses this size, maybe not for sale or anything like that right now because the market is crazy, but we are looking to bring in not families that are looking for necessarily a starter home, but their next home after that. I mean, I feel like that's kind of really the housing that we're missing in town. So I feel like it might be a good idea to maybe revisit these plans and look at decreasing the amount but doubling the size, and then selling them for a higher price point. I feel like that would be a smart thing considering, you know, the street and the surrounding area and the type of families and businesses that we're trying to attract to Belton. We don't always need to cater to the thing that is the least expensive. We're trying to grow our community and our infrastructure and everything about Belton. So let's try to aim up a little bit if possible. That's just my opinion on it. I do live on the street. We own 3 buildings on this street. And so I really want to bring things to Main Street that aren't just base level. I want Main Street to really reach its potential. And I feel like if we are just putting the bare minimum in, we're never going to get there. So let's aim a little higher. That's my question. Is it not possible to aim a little higher?
I'm glad to respond if we have time.
Okay. If it's okay, we're just try and keep all of these questions, keep note of those,
Okay,
so that we can
that's fine.
respond to them at one
Okay,
point.
thank you.
I can
But-
catch up with you after meeting
Yeah,
too.
but anyone else that would like to speak?
My name's Elmer Larkey, and I've lived in Belton since 1951. And I seen us go from what they're planning on building here to like, and I'm not running down anything. You know, like Roby Drive or the 3 houses on 58. You know, when the Air Force moved in here, they built everything. And it took us 40 years to get away from that trailer park image. And I think this is the same thing's happening now. You know, what happened if it's over in Hargis Gardens right now, if a house burns and they buy the lot, could they build 2 houses on it? You know, when you start changing the ordinances, I just think you're in trouble. And I've lived here a long time and I've seen a lot of stuff go through. You know, and I've actually, well, I've lived on Scott Street, 4 different houses and all that. But anyway, I've seen a lot of growth in the last 10 years, or maybe 20, you know, like Hargis Gardens and on West and stuff. But, you know, we haven't had a deal like this. I've been looking at these plans. They got a garage that is 19 foot deep, 14 foot wide. Most pickups are 18 foot. You know, they're not gonna be able to park a pickup in the truck, in the garage. You know, I mean, they can park a small car in there. And I just think it's an undersized development for what they're trying to do. I mean, if they built different houses, say, if a house burned in Harker's Gardens right now and someone bought it, if you change the ordinance, they could put two of them on the same lot that was there now. And I don't think that is a good idea. So.
Thank you.
Hello. Pam Hatcher, 1403 North Madison, Raymore, Missouri. I am the owner and broker of Integrity Group Real Estate in Raymore, and I don't have a dog in this fight, but I do want to provide some feedback from a real estate standpoint. I'm out on the streets every day, 24/7, selling real estate. I completely hear what everybody is saying, and 17 feet, the space is small. I get it. I'm glad to hear that there's a rock bed between the houses. When I first heard the size of the front of the house, I was like, ooh, but here's the deal. The home buyers today are not living where I live. I live on 32 acres. My husband spends 3 hours mowing. We have a truck. That is not what the home buyers today are buying, okay? They are buying these houses. They want to sit out on their patio with a beer. They order DoorDash. They want to come up here to Main Street and have a beer. They want to eat at the restaurants, and they park their electric vehicle in the garage, in the small garage. They're not driving the big truck. This is what is selling. It's not what I would buy. It's not what I would even want my kids to buy, but this is what sells. Like I said, don't got a dog in the fight, but I'm telling you, if you gave me those houses to sell, I'd sell them in the first 2 days. Let me know if you need a listing agent.
All right, anyone else? Ask once more. So there have been several questions that have been raised. I do want to give the applicant opportunity to address some of those, and staff, if you have any that you would like to address. But we'll start with the applicant, and because I know that there were several things that you would like to speak to. So.
Would you like me to stand up here?
If you'd come to the podium, I think that'd make it easier for everybody to see you as well.
Thank you for the feedback regarding the size, and I understand your desire to possibly make the houses a little bit wider or up the price. But I would, kind of reflect again on this community because, people have brought up our workout and traditions, but also we're still competing with the Roush Coleman that's in your community that's building these houses at 265 to 285 on slab. So these houses, while we're working towards an affordability factor. We're working towards having something unique, not cookie cutter. These plans weren't just something we printed and repeated over and over. We try to make something that's unique for this community, and it's tough. So I think what helps bring new people into your community also is the tax abatement. That's going to be very critical with our price point because unfortunately I'm not a regional builder like Roush Coleman that can bring my prices in like they can. I want to, but I'm a local builder, and this is the same thing that happens over and over as nationals or regional builders come in, is that they'll continue to fight you on price. So our position wasn't really a price, it wasn't a race to the bottom. We still want the amenities in there. I would appreciate whoever went to Midtown that's still on the Parade of Homes this weekend, go to 4526 Forest. We have a model home, and then we have 4 more homes on Forest. But the reason why we chose this design and the setbacks actually are narrower than 20 feet. That setback that was mentioned was between a Teton and a Sanford, but ultimately most of those setbacks are 10 feet, maybe 11 feet apart, and the only reason we keep the distance is for the fire codes. So it's nothing different than what we did in Midtown from that aspect. And our position really is that we need this number of homes. That's why we came back with some adjustments to the site and that, because I understand everybody wants more, but when we're making an investment in the community, our performance says these are the number of homes that we need, or don't do it at all. What we would like to see is this is just step one. And what happened in Midtown, we're in between Troost and Paseo. Put this in perspective. We're in between Troost and Paseo by Brush Creek Boulevard. We have a home listed for $504,000 down there. That's a lot of money. But where we started, when we started that community with the development, was $250,000 6 years ago. So it's an evolution that we work towards, not trying to just jump to the first thing. And what you'll find is you'll begin to attract more and more people, and we would be able to bring more people to this community, or maybe give somebody a different experience than living in a normal, I shouldn't say a normal development, but I live in a normal development, but they get that downtown experience. And we build, you know, I got all passionate earlier, finally collected myself, but I believe many cities are rebuilding themselves from the inside out, and you guys are just another example of that. Any other questions?
Can you repeat that address?
4526 Forest. This is the last weekend for the Parade of Homes. And then there's also 3 more houses up the street that you can visit that are not furnished, if you'd like to check those out.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I think the main point that I want to make is that, you know, I understand everybody's wishes, but from a performance standpoint, we need these number of units on this site. And if it's not going to work, then I think we're going to move to a different project.
All right.
Thank you.
We will ask one more time, any final comments before we close the public hearing on this? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing, and we will leave it open to the commission. Any questions, comments, commissioners?
I wasn't here last meeting, but I was eavesdropping. I was watching you from vacation. So my question's to the fire marshal. Do you like the new plans?
It meets the requirement of my code now, so.
Okay.
I would just comment that I feel, to the developer, I appreciate the fact that you took what was brought to you the last time and the comments from the public, from the commission, and have really worked hard to come up with a plan that did fit within what we were asking for, as well as what you had done. And I feel like you addressed a lot of the concerns that we had voiced at that point, and I appreciate all the hard work. I know it was not easy. I know it was a little disappointing last meeting to have to go back kind of to the drawing board and start over on some of these. But, you know, I do appreciate the work that you put in. The other comment that I would just make is that from looking, and we will be, it is on our agenda to look at a little bit later today, but the future land map and housing chapter, especially in the comprehensive plan that is being developed for the city right now, specifically addresses some of the needs that we have. And what we have found is that there are needs from entry level to the 500,000 on up, $500,000 or $1 million home, that we are short on houses across the board in all areas. And so in other communities that I have been through and just kind of looking, I have seen, is it my choice? No, I would not want to have my neighbors as close to me. But when I think about the first house that I started out in, it probably was at least that close to my neighbors at that time. And, you know, so I know that there are a lot of people that want to get into a home, and I feel like this does provide an opportunity for them. So, but just appreciate the work that you all have put in on that. So. Other comments? If not, we would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to
right. We have a motion. Is
I'll
there-
second that.
Thank you. We do have motion and second. Any final comments or discussion before we put it to a vote? Seeing none, could we have the roll call, please?
Mayor Larkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Walton,
No.
Chairman McPherson,
Aye.
Councilmember Pryan,
Aye.
Commissioner McDonough, Commissioner Crate.
All right, thank you. So the rezoning will move on, and we will now call to order the second part of the public hearing this evening, and that is for PDP 2024-01, application for preliminary development plan for the development of 11 single-family homes with central amenity space on .089 plus or minus acres, generally located on the northeast side of 2nd Street between Herschel and Hackberry. And is there anything, I think this is pertaining to the same property we just discussed.
Nothing further.
At this point, there's nothing additional to add to that. Are there any comments as we consider the preliminary development plan from the public, either in favor or in opposition? Ask one more time, anyone want to speak in favor or in opposition for this development plan? Yes.
Yeah, Rob Powell, 802 Main Street in Belton. And I just, from hearing this, I was kind of confused as to, there were several questions about the work and traditions and the shoddiness of some of the housing, some of the lights falling from the ceilings, et cetera. And I know that there was some response to another question about this developer taking that over from somebody else as a general contractor, but I still didn't quite get whose responsibility that was and whether or not that reflected directly on the developer we're considering now. So I'd like to ask that to be specifically answered for the people who asked those questions in the past.
All right, thank you. Yes.
I can respond. You guys hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we're in essentially a middleman position where we do not choose the supplies for the homes. We construct the homes. And also we offered Salee Development to do the follow-through with the warranty process at additional fee, because those homes initially in Traditions, if everyone recalls, were designed and supplied to be single-family rentals that were sold off to a brokerage. So our goal was to build the structures with the supplies that were given. We were also instructed that we were not going to be the ones, and it was agreed upon with Salee Development, to warranty the homes. So and we did have a problem with that, but what happened was that project ended up flipping from a rental community that would be owned and managed and maintained by Salee Development to a for-sale community. When that happened, then we posed the question, which we are not naive to, that we would be glad to service the homeowners and warranty their homes, but they didn't want to do that at an additional cost. So in order to do that, they chose to buy the project essentially from us and take it over, and it's their responsibility to meet the homeowners for the pre-close walkthrough, complete the lists that are needed, which is a normal process when you sell the home, and then follow up with any warranty items. And I think the fallacy in their process, quite honestly, is that they rely on the subcontractors to just answer their phones, significant to the Richardson case, when that's not what we do. And that's reflective of our reviews with our customers. And those are homeowners those were like the first 8 homeowners that agreed to do a video with us. So when we're in control of the project, my take is that if we've screwed something up, we're following up to fix it. And the materials that we used on these homes be more reflected, again, like I said, if you were to visit those homes on Forest and walk those. And I've built 7 houses on my own street and can walk through a community. There's community members in here that could give me a punch list probably today, but I do the best that I can to service them, and I haven't made everybody happy, but I think we do a damn good job when it comes to follow through with our warranty process.
Okay. And just a reminder, this is another public hearing, so we've opened that. So just state your name for us.
My name is Anita Majors. I live at 704 Emily Avenue. And the traditions, I don't think, and maybe you guys can clarify for me, I don't think we fall under that rental where you guys built them as rentals and then they sold. Ours was a single unit home. And for the most part, I did enjoy working with the guys. They're great to work with. We have had some issues. I had emails even from back in my 1-year period where I have creaking floors. My whole first floor creaks. It's spread now, and it hasn't been we haven't been able to do anything. They screwed nails into it. They hammered nails. They glued. It's still squeaks a lot. The biggest thing that has come up for us right now, and this is what Wanda and Brett were talking about, is my husband was going to put some different light fixtures in for me because, you know, it's been 6 years. I want to do some renovations. And when he took off our pendant lights on our island, they were not in boxes. When we pulled on one, the other light went up, so they're wired to each other. And I'm not sure if that is something that the city needs to look at inspection-wise, to where if it's not done correctly, then the inspector needs to be catching it, because I am not a project manager. I had no idea. I would visit the home every day and see how things were going, but I never thought to look at the electrical piece of it. So is that the builder that I need to try to see if they can help me with, or is that a city thing because you guys passed the inspection on the houses? So there's that. And so if it's the city inspector, then they need to pay attention to what the builder's providing and giving, or if it's the builder, then how do you make them be responsible for those things that may come up? Because I didn't change my light fixtures for 6 years, and actually I can't. I'm gonna have to have an electrician come and see what's going on because something's not right there, so.
Staff? Yes, I was going to ask staff also if they would respond to the inspection question that was posed. So,
yeah, if the homeowner wouldn't mind providing me with her contact information, then I will be able to have our building official reach out to her and discuss the inspection process, and if that is something that is does meet code, and if it is something that we do inspect.
Okay. And yes, go ahead.
So there is obviously a better way, or you could put the boxes in, but these are UL rated fixtures, and this is to code. So one example, it is to code, because this question also comes up in the fact that above the vanities, if you put the boxes in, they're not centered above the sinks. So we leave the wire poked through the sheetrock. And any fixture that, even if you were to do it yourself, buy it from Home Depot, still comes with the sheetrock sinkers, and it can still be capped and wired behind the UL rated fixture against the sheetrock. Is it ideal? No, but that is still a to-code process without the box.
Okay. So if you will get with staff with all the information, they'll definitely be in contact about the inspection for you. Any other comments? Elmer.
My name is Elmer Larkey again, and I understand what's happening, but I'm curious where this is going to go in the whole town of Belton. I mean, I've seen the growth all the way for 60 years or more, and it took a long time to get away from the trailer park image. And I'm really curious where this is going to go from now. Is this that one position, or are you changing the whole ordinance for the whole city? About setbacks and stuff.
So, okay. The one thing I would say to this is that it does meet the current code as far as the setbacks are concerned. Because of the change that was made, they do meet the 5-foot setback, which is our code. So that was changed.
From the street, 5 foot?
Oh, from the street, I'm sorry, I missed.
Yeah, that's a setback, the other
Hey,
side.
You're not talking about the side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, this is like 10 foot.
Due to the downtown development that we currently have, most of the homes in downtown do not meet our current R2 zoning front setback. Most of the homes are closer to the street than 20 feet.
Where's this at?
Where's what?
Where's the ones that are sitting closer to 20 foot?
Most of the homes in downtown are closer than 20 feet to the street, on Main Street specifically.
So the current code is for 20 feet, and you're saying that most of the existing homes are less than 20 already?
Correct.
I don't believe that, but if you say it, you can say it. But, because I lived in about 10 of them on one street, so, and I know what the setbacks are. But I'm just curious where's it going to stop? I live through the trailer park area. I live through everything. I've been here so long, and I see this happening again. And I really worry about, if we lived in Harvard's Gardens or somewhere, we probably wouldn't have to worry about it. But if there's a vacant lot here, they can build 10 foot back from the setback now. If this passes, I think, the way you're changing the codes.
And I understand your comment, Elmer. I think the thing that I would say is that if a change like that does need to be made or is requested, they would need to go through this same process each time. This is not a blanket, this whole city of Belton, we're changing for everybody. This is an
Well, the way that's reading in there, it is.
This is a planned unit development, a PUD, which specifically applies to this property. It is unique to this property only. We base our recommendations off of the location and the review criteria, and based on where this is located in the proximity to downtown and Main Street and the surrounding blocks, and plus the existing platted subdivision that has 24-foot wide lots, it's not out of character with that design. In other parts of the city outside of downtown, something like this would likely not be appropriate. But in this location, and there's other blocks in downtown where this may also be appropriate, given its proximity to Main Street.
So it is not a blanket, the whole town is going to go to that. If they want to make that change at some point and ask for an exception, then they will go through this same process of coming before the Planning Commission.
Well, we can hope that's the case, but I don't believe it is when you change it in the codes.
Oh.
But anyway, I'm not
Okay.
going to argue with you.
No, I appreciate that, Elmer.
Yeah, but I'm concerned about what's going to happen.
Sure, I understand.
We'll clarify that this does not change any code section in the Unified Development Code. This specifically is just an exception for this property only,
For
and
this
it's not
one
written
project.
into the actual development code.
Okay. Any additional, yes?
I haven't changed my name. I'm still Brett White. I have some pictures. Can I show the developer what I was meaning by what I was considering, hoping that they would not do with this?
What I would say is that does not sound like that is in line with what we are currently
That's fine.
talking about.
Okay.
I would say, yes, you definitely can show it. And if I understand, I would say the developer probably would like to see those. So, but just trying to keep it in line with what we are currently have before us. All right, any other comments in favor or in opposition to the preliminary development plan, which is what we have on the floor right now? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and ask if there are any additional comments or questions from the council, from the committee. Seeing none, would entertain a motion.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second for the approval of the preliminary development plan. Any final comments? Seeing none, could we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Crate? Commissioner McDonough? Councilmember Pryan?
Aye.
Mayor Larkey?
Yes.
Commissioner Walton?
No.
Chairman McPherson?
Aye. All right. We will move on to what we have under non-public hearings, and the next one is going to sound very similar as I read it. But this is item PP 2024-01, application for a preliminary plat for The View, a proposed 11-lot and 1-tract residential on .089 plus or minus acres, generally located on the northeast side of 2nd Street between Herschel and Hackberry Streets. And I
Nothing
see
further.
the city planner is shaking her
All
head
part of
no.
the same
No additional
presentation.
comments on her part.
Yeah.
So any comments or questions from the council, from the commission? If not, would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the preliminary plat for The View PP 2024-01.
All right, thank you. Have a motion. Is there a second? All right, thank you. Any final comments? Seeing none, could we have the roll call, please?
Chairman McPherson?
Aye.
Commissioner Walton?
No.
Commissioner Crate?
Aye.
Commissioner McDonough? Councilmember Pryan?
Aye.
Mayor Larkey?
All right, thank you. Next item that we have is going to change a little bit. This is FDP 2024-03, an application for final development plan for Comfort Systems Building Addition at 128 West Markey Road. And Ms. Fernandez.
Thank you. An application was filed for a preliminary and final plat and final development plan to develop a 9,600 square foot warehouse building and a loading and unloading area at the rear of the property at the northwest corner of North Scott Avenue and West Markey Road, or 128 Markey Road. The subject property is zoned C2 General Commercial and used to be the old RG Federal Credit Union building. The property is predominantly surrounded by other commercial and light industrial uses. The property is subject to compliance with the C2 General Commercial Standards of the UDC, as well as the North Scott Overlay Plan. The zoning district permits the development of a warehouse as an accessory use to a construction, sales, and service use without any outdoor storage. The plan meets all site design requirements except for there are modifications requested to utilize 100% ribbed metal siding in place of the 75% exterior masonry requirement under the North Scott overlay, and face an overhead door towards the street, which is also not allowed under the North Scott overlay, and then to use asphalt millings for the paved surface instead of the required asphalt or concrete. The property has not previously been platted. The plat includes one lot at 2.84 acres, which meets all UDC requirements. The plat includes the 2 existing access drives off of West Markey Road, which will continue to be the main access for the site and the addition. The preliminary plat includes the additional paved area that will be accessed through an already installed privacy fence and gate. The sidewalk along West Markey Road will be installed by the city when the road is improved in the future, so we did not ask the applicant to install the sidewalk. The final plat includes an additional 5 foot of right-of-way dedication for that road project to be completed in the future. The proposed site plan indicates that the 9,600 square foot pre-engineered metal building will be placed at the rear of the property behind the recently installed 6-foot white vinyl privacy fence and behind the existing 4,000 square foot office building. Based on the proposed use of the property and the additional square footage being added to the property, the site is required to have 22 parking spaces. There are currently 37 existing parking spaces on the site, which exceeds our parking requirement. The additional paved area has been proposed around the warehouse and will serve as the loading and unloading area and not for customer parking or outdoor storage. The applicant has requested a modification to pave this area with asphalt millings instead of the required asphalt or concrete. Staff believes that since this area will be behind the privacy fence and not along a street frontage, this would be acceptable. The proposed landscape plan provides some additional landscaping on site with a mix of shade trees, evergreens, and shrubs that cluster around the rear entrance of the property and line the access drives into the site. The landscape plan meets all UDC requirements. The proposed warehouse, office, metal shop building is 9,600 square feet, pre-engineered, and includes a 20-foot by 73-foot overhang for loading and unloading on the west side of the building. The North Sky overlay plan requires all buildings to be made with at least 75% masonry. The applicant has requested a modification to not provide any masonry and utilize the 100% ribbed metal siding on the facades. The applicant has also asked for a modification to face an overhead door towards West Markey Road, which is also not allowed under the North Sky overlay. The proposed color palette includes a predominantly white exterior with a brown wainscot, and the white metal overhead doors will face West Markey Road. The staff believes that since the proposed building sits farther back on the site at the rear of the property and is screened with fencing and landscaping, that these modifications to the facade and the overhead doors would not be detrimental to the aesthetics of the surrounding area. And other than the modifications requested, the proposed building design meets all UDC requirements. With that, staff recommends approval of the application with the 5 conditions listed in the staff report. The applicant is here if you would like to say anything.
I'm Logan Conway with Comfort Systems. Just excited to get this project off the ground and appreciate any of your guys' grace and the condolences as we are a small business. So thank you. Been in business here for 33 years and excited to move across town and maybe make our commute a little easier off 58 Highway and potentially sell our building to someone else that can grow over there. So thank you.
Thank you. So I will ask the commission, any questions or comments? I have to make one comment. Looking at the agenda packet, when they had samples of the siding and the wainscoting that's planning to be used, you weren't trying to influence us by putting that cute little guy's picture in there with those sidings. So I saw that little guy in there. It's like, how can we say no to him? So, all right. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, I got a question. You talked about asphalt millings. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I've asked that he ensures that the asphalt millings can support fire apparatus to get us in and around the building as needed. And as long as it supports our apparatus and the weight of it, that's okay by fire code. And we've had the conversation. We've already talked some about it, him and I, so he's going to ensure that that works.
Good. Any other questions? Yes.
My only kind of setting a precedent here
we talked several years ago about the Markey Parkway being the main east-west corridor for the future. And, we had somebody come up, you know, a few years ago wanting to build a metal building. And I know it's pretty far off, but it's still, you could still see it from Markey Parkway. And, you know, I don't see that big a deal with it right now, but I don't know, you know, didn't see that big a deal with all those metal buildings on North Scott in the 60s either. So that's my only concern, that east-west connection that's going to be supposedly big one of these days. Now, I do want to have one question. Are the outside storage, North Scott corridor storage rules going to be enforced on this?
Yes, the applicant has assured us that no outdoor storage would be in
Okay.
that rear part of the property.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? No, would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Second.
all right, have a motion and a second. Any other comments at all? Could we have the roll call, please?
Chairman McPherson,
Aye.
Commissioner McDonough. Mayor Larkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Walton,
Aye.
Commissioner Crate,
Aye.
Councilmember Pryan.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Next item, very similar, application for a preliminary plat for Comfort Systems in Belton, a one-lot commercial subdivision on 2.87 plus or minus acres at 128 West Markey Road. Any additional
Nothing further.
information? All right,
I'll make a motion.
all right, a motion to
I'll second.
and a second, thank you. Any comments? Seeing none, could we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner McDonough. Councilmember Pryan.
Aye.
Chairman McPherson.
Aye.
Commissioner Crate.
Aye.
Mayor Larkey.
Yes.
Commissioner Walton.
Aye.
And next item, FP 2024-01, an application for final plat for Comfort Systems of Belton, a one-lot commercial subdivision on 2.87 plus or minus acres at 128 West Markey Road. No more information on that.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the final plat for Comfort Systems.
Second it.
Thank you. Any comments? Do we have the roll call?
Councilmember Pryan.
Aye.
Mayor Larkey.
Yes.
Commissioner McDonough. Commissioner Crate.
Aye.
Commissioner Walton.
Aye.
Chairman McPherson.
Aye. Thank you. Director, would you like to introduce the next item, the presentation from the UMKC Urban Planning and Design Studio?
Yeah, the next item is for, we've been working with the UMKC Urban Planning and Design Studio, the senior studio, since January on the 48 acres that's located at the southeast corner of North Scott Avenue and Turner Road. They did have a community meeting back in early March. Chair McPherson did attend that, as well as a few other members of the community and staff. And they took that feedback and the survey results that they received from the community, and they're here to present their final plan to the Planning Commission.
Great.
Hello, we are the UMKC Spring 2024 Senior Urban Planning and Design Studio. Today we are presenting development proposals for the southeast corner of North Scott Avenue and Turner Road we have studied this semester. We'd like to thank the City of Belton for providing us with this opportunity, especially Community Development Director Matt Wright and City Planner Jennifer Fernandez for their help. All right. This project is to provide development opportunities for the land on North Scott Avenue and Turner Road. For this project, we reviewed related plans, analyzed existing conditions, and sought community input. We also conducted opportunities and constraints analysis and developed our vision and goals for our study site to realize the opportunities. Finally, we developed two development proposals to present here today. The slide shows our study site located on the southeast corner of North Scott Avenue and Turner Road, just west of I-49 and directly north of downtown. The area is approximately 48 acres, including 27 undeveloped acres, and is surrounded by single-family neighborhoods to the east. To the east of this site is a newly developed commercial corridor off of I-49. For reference, our study site includes the Belton Masonic Lodge, Family Cabin Restaurant, Heart and Hand Thrift Store, and Meadowview Mobile Home Park. So with this project, we reviewed several project-related plans. For example, the 1992 Comprehensive Plan. It aimed for orderly and efficient urban growth, various housing options, access to commercial development, industrial growth, safe and efficient transportation networks, and ample recreational opportunities in Belton. Currently, the city is developing a new comprehensive plan. The draft housing and neighborhood section emphasizes diverse housing options as a key housing development goal. We also conducted an existing conditions analysis for our study site and presented our findings in March. The existing conditions analysis included these 4 elements of demographics, connectivity, transportation and infrastructure, along with land development. We found that the city is becoming more diverse in terms of age, racial, and ethnic composition. The study site is within proximity to downtown. However, there is limited connectivity to downtown and new development areas, particularly for pedestrians and bicyclists. One second. Belton is car dependent. There are limited alternative transportation alternatives. Notably, there is no transit service. Also, older developed areas lack sidewalks and bike lanes. The study site is fairly flat and has limited flood risk. Given the designated zoning for multifamily housing, surrounding development, and natural environments, the site can be suitable for quality multifamily housing developments. We received several feedbacks during the presentation of this existing conditions analysis. Those include improved connectivity, diverse housing options, more green space, and public amenities, along with better commercial accessibility for the future development of the study site. We also conducted a survey to get additional community input, and more than 190 people participated. The survey focused on housing affordability, housing types, public amenities, and commercial development. We used this public input to formulate our development proposals. The survey respondents were diverse and included business owners and visitors. However, the majority of survey participants were long-term residents of 10+ years. Next up, we asked how affordable it is to live in Belton. There are differing views on Belton's affordability with almost a 50-50 split. Secondly, we asked the respondents their views on multifamily housing developments. Respondents were also fairly equally divided on their support for multifamily housing developments. 40% of participants were supportive of multifamily housing, while 45% were not supportive. These results may indicate that future multifamily housing developments may require consensus building. We also asked about preferred multifamily housing types. The housing types included apartments, condos, duplexes, fourplexes, townhomes, and row homes. For this question, we provided a picture of each housing type and asked participants to rank their most preferred housing options with their least preferred housing options. The most preferred housing type was duplexes, followed by townhomes and row homes, then fourplexes. Townhomes and row homes were never a last preference for this. The least preferred housing type was apartments, which could be the most dense, followed by condominiums. These results indicate that survey participants preferred housing for missing middle, which means low-density multifamily developments. Public amenities such as green space and open spaces are essential for any development. From these choices of trails and greenways, gardens, or plazas, there is a much higher demand for trails or greenways among survey participants. These results indicate that participants want more green spaces in future housing developments. As you know, our survey is off of North Scott, which is a commercial corridor. Participants preferred more neighborhood commercial development than regional scale commercial development. Given the analysis of our existing conditions and the community inputs, we identified several development opportunities for the study site. Since the population is diversifying and increasing, we see an increasing demand for diverse and affordable housing options. Since the study site is already zoned for multifamily housing development, the study site can accommodate such diverse and affordable housing developments. Given the location of the site and future improvement in connectivity to the downtown and surrounding residential and commercial developments, the site has significant potential to be a more livable and walkable community that meets the new housing demand in the coming years. Also, based on our existing condition analysis and survey results, we developed our vision statement goals, and goals for development opportunities. So starting with our vision statement, we want to create a mixed-use, diverse, multifamily housing community in Belton, featuring public gathering spaces to enhance livability, walkability, connectivity, and a sense of community with surrounding neighborhoods. Our goals for this statement is to promote mixed types of multifamily housing, create a higher level of walkability by connecting surrounding neighborhoods with complete streets, create a public space for recreational and leisure activities, and create a commercial development at a neighborhood scale.
Now it's my turn. Based on our vision and goals, we developed two development proposals for the future of this site plan. One that minimizes change in the existing development, and one that requires a significant transformation of the study site. It should also be noted that next to our property on the east side, there is a proposed development called the Hales property development, and it will be a high-density residential and I think some commercial use. We will present two proposals, one after the other. But before I do that, before we get to our site plan, we wanted to share types of multifamily housing we considered in our proposal. Using the term missing middle encompasses various housing types, including courtyard apartments or low-density apartments, townhomes, fourplexes, duplexes, and more. The missing middle is not often found in suburbs. However, it promotes affordable housing and provides housing alternatives for a wide range of households, with the potential to provide more green space for the public use. In our proposal, medium-density housing will refer to this missing middle. All right, site plan A will keep the existing commercial on North Scott Avenue and the most of the existing mobile homes. They are in the white in the center of that map there. The street system on this plan is a grid utilizing the existing roads in the Meadowview Mobile Home Park. We want to propose that vehicle speeds be low to create a safe transportational environment for all users, including bike and pedestrians. From the community survey we conducted, Belton indicated that it needs more green space. So we have two large parks at opposing corners on this proposal, one at the northwest with the pond, and one at the southwest, which is just a more open field. This will facilitate our proposed development's compliance with the city code of 50% green space requirement. Next, we will have a trail system that connects hopefully to a regional trail connection, but it will also connect to the various residential housing types within the development and allow access to the parks. There will be an east-west trail that will go off the creek that's there, and then there will be a trail that goes north-south with the circles there, and that will be for public gathering spaces as well. The Northwest Park with the pond will have other facilities such as a pavilion and sporting fields. This will make it a very unique park to Belton, as it will have all these amenities. And then the park in the southwest will be more of a green space with a playground for leisure activities for the development site, but also for the Hales property. Across from the Hales property on our development site in the red will be our high-density apartment This is consistent land use with the Hales development. To the north will be our senior housing in the brown. This is to be like a calmer area, we think, on our site, but also it's right next to that park, so we expect them to use that park. And then it should be noted that the Belton's, it should be noted that Belton is experiencing a growth in number and proportion of its older adults, so that's why we've included senior housing in both of our developments. And then on North Scott, we have a purple-blue buildings that are going to be mixed use, with the first floor commercial and the second floor or upper floor being residential. And then north and south of the Meadowview Mobile Home Park will be our medium-density housing, and we've included that to have backyard garages. All right. This slide shows the estimated number of housing units built for each housing type, with an estimated total of 332. That would be about 7 units per acre for the entire development. The mobile home park currently has empty pads. About 30 mobile home pads of the east side will be moved to the west side of the mobile home park to occupy those vacant spots. The street section here, these are street section designs to provide a ground view perspective at given road and a trail that accompanies it. The next street section is the trail that runs north-south through the various residential units. These sections demonstrate our proposed plans' potential for complete street development and improved bicycle and pedestrian activity. We developed a phase implementation plan. In phase 1, the new road networks and the reconstruction of existing road networks will begin. Following this, the infill of the east mobile home units towards the west of the site will occur. After this, the high-density residential apartment complementing the Hales development. Finally, the 2 large parks will be developed. In phase 2, we will complete the senior housing and mixed-use development, along with Turner Road connection will be constructed as a complete street. Finally, the remaining construction of the streets will be completed. In the 3rd phase, we will build the medium-density multifamily housing north and south of the Meadowview Mobile Home Park. The trail development will be completed, and then we will finish the Meadowview streets will be improved. All right. Site Plan B. All right. Site Plan B is an alternative version where Meadowview Mobile Home Park may not stay on this site due to unforeseen circumstances. In this plan, we also propose to keep the existing commercial on North Scott. This plan puts more emphasis on a variety of housing types and is a denser development with more units per acre. The single-family housing is about the same footprint size as a mobile home, which in your first demonstration would be those 14-foot houses. It uses various missing middle housing types of different sizes throughout the residential area. It's consistent with the other plan where there is a large park in the northwest near the senior housing with a pond, pavilion, and sporting fields. The mixed-use developments are on North Scott, and the high-density apartment complex is adjacent to the Hales property development. In between the 2 senior housing structures, there will be a gathering space. There's a trail system here that is more dynamic. It goes diagonally across the development to be more walkable, connecting each sub-area of the development to allow residents to feel connected and walk to access the park. This plan proposes a limited non-grid road network that lowers vehicles traffic and creates a safe community environment. And this site plan includes ample green space with the proposal of the park and other green space to accommodate the 50% requirement per city code. All right. The Plan B proposal would bring approximately 531 units to the development site with a housing density that is 11 units per acre. Plan B will provide a broad array of housing types that can accommodate a diverse group of residents. In phase 1 of this plan, we will start with the large park with the pond to be constructed and the roads. And the high density will also be developed again to be complementary of the Hales property development. Part 2 will consist of the senior housing and the trail development that runs along the creek east to west. This phase is important for creating a connected residential environment for all housing developments. Phase 3 will be the development of the mixed use on North Scott, and part of the medium density housing development will occur. And this is the last phase of this one. It will be to finish up that big area of medium density housing along with the trail. Next, we have some renderings of the park. We decided to do the Northwest Park as our renderings because these are both proposed similarly in Plan A and Plan B. So this would be the looking east from North Scott, kind of a bird's eye view of the pond and the park. Next would be the sporting fields to the east of the pond. So hopefully we get a lot of residents to use these. Next would be the walk path along the pond. We are hoping to get the senior housing people to get out there and walk around that track. And lastly are some more renderings, more on the eastern side near the pavilion. Okay. Lastly, we would like to provide recommendations on the next steps to move forward with the proposed development plans. Design guidelines and standards, these are necessary to start development of the study area. Quality design guidelines and standards can significantly affect the quality of the development. Second would be the community partnership building. Establishing partnerships among all stakeholders is critical for large-scale development. The importance of developing a consensus cannot be overemphasized. Policy and updates. Adequate policy and regulations need to be placed to facilitate the proposed development. Examining the experience of other cities may provide valuable information. All right, thank you guys for your time, and I think Haley's going to moderate the question section.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions,
Go ahead. Or- Yeah, so
Yes,
everybody
if-
can see,
again, if
so
you
everybody
just
can
come
hear you.
to the microphone.
Okay, you show, well, two questions. First of all, you show mixed use where there's businesses now, so what's going to happen to those businesses? And second, you said something about the trailers would go away because of unforeseen circumstances or something to that effect. What does that mean?
as far as the condensing, or I'm sorry, not condensing, but phasing out that mobile home park, that would be if Plan 2 was the one that was decided upon. So ultimately, that's what would happen. We know that that's not ideal. That's why we wanted to kind of give an option for both, kind of keeping that mobile home park, but then maybe phasing it out eventually, just to give kind of the public an idea, I think, of what that could look like. So I hope that maybe kind of answers that question for you.
And then, I'm sorry, what was your other question?
Oh, the businesses where you show mixed, there's existing businesses along North Scott, and you show new businesses or new, new commercial development and mixed use.
Yeah, so I think the idea is that, the commercial development would stay, and then I think we would have, housing on like second story of the commercial development. So what's currently there would stay, it would just be built upon, so.
Well, they're, they're auto sales, yards, so I don't think you're gonna build a, apartment building on top of them. I mean, so I think you'll probably push them off and
Yeah, I wanted,
build something
let
new.
me see if I can go back to the. Site Plan A, is that the one you were referring to, the first one with the commercial?
Well, let's look at site plan A, yeah.
Okay, here's A. So the two commercial that would be there, what's there would stay, and then those two kind of bluish purple, that would be addition. So not getting rid of anything that's there from my understanding, and it would just be an addition. So we'd keep like the auto place that's there. I know the Masonic temples in our site, as well as the family cabin. So it was really important for us to try to keep as much of kind of the business that we could, especially since our survey, a lot of people are big fans of neighborhood commercial business. So we wanted to kind of keep that, I think, where we could, so.
Okay, so I apologize. That east-west road at the south side of your development, that's Turner Road, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So the autos yards are south of that, but there are businesses there along North Scott. Right.
That east-west road on the south is given, would be given. Turner's up the top.
Yeah, the further north one, and then Given at the bottom.
Yeah, and so there are a couple of existing auto uses there. This would show if those were to turn over some of the mobile home park, there's an opportunity there to build a mixed use building on there, if those sites were redeveloped.
Well, in discussing with the people that actually work along there, they've been told that they can't do any development. I mean, we, in the last segment of this meeting, metal buildings were approved, and yet they've been told they can't redo metal buildings, but they've been told, wait until the comprehensive plan comes in, because there will be opportunities for you. And it sounds like the opportunity is go find someplace else to go. So I know this is just really preliminary and thinking pie in the sky, but there's got to be a strong philosophy there about what we want to do at North Scott, and realize either we're going to accommodate people that have been there for a huge amount of time, or we tell them, hey, we got a new concept and we're going to put in mixed use on where you are, and so find someplace else.
And if I'm understanding, this is just a concept plan. It is not, we're gonna go in and level everything out that is in that area and move everybody out. This is just a concept that, it may be later this year that somebody decides to close their business, and that would open up that, or it may be 10, 15 years from now. But it would be, this is what could be done in that space.
Correct. Yeah, this was a concept plan that was developed by the Senior Design Studio, specifically looking at the North Scott corridor, as well as the Hales concept to the east, and how can we develop something potentially unique here that builds upon the success of downtown, the success of the 163rd Street corridor, and some of the reinvestment that's being made along North Scott. So this is a a perfect site for that because it's right in the middle of the city, and there's still a large undeveloped properties on here that will likely see redevelopment here in the next few years.
Curious, you know, with these plans and a clean slate, you guys left the Masonic lodges in both of them. Why did you do that?
I think we just felt, after kind of speaking with Matt and Jenna, that it was an important piece of history, I think, to keep in Belton. So we didn't want to touch it if we didn't have to, so.
Do you know why it's history?
President Truman, correct?
I knew the answer when I asked you the question. I just wanted to make sure you guys you're doing your homework. Okay. That's all I had. I just wanted to make sure you were doing your homework.
All right. Any other questions? How long have you all been working on this?
Since the beginning of the semester in January.
Oh, all right.
Looks
Sure.
good.
Where's the fire station?
If not any questions, do you guys have any feedback for the students, maybe? Thoughts?
No, I mean, to me, it
I
looks.
do. On the walking paths, the circular areas, would those be considered pedestrian roundabouts?
Really had to go there, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. We love roundabouts here.
Only if we hand out handouts that show them how to merge into that roundabout. Feedback I would give, this is the second time I've had to see the presentation, and I was impressed the first time. I'm even more so impressed this time. You all have done a great job, put a lot of work, a lot of thought into it, and have given us a lot to think about as a city as we move forward. And so I recommend A's for everybody.
Yeah.
I hope your teachers are back there.
Yeah, and we want to, they've been great to work with. We appreciate Dr. Kim and Dr. Frisch as well, and working with all the seniors. They are seniors, so I believe they're all, I think graduation is this weekend? On Sunday.
Maybe.
So, this is kind of their final hurrah, and I think also probably not a better planning commission for them to sit through. They got to see some real world experience and what it's like to have public hearings on different development projects. So we appreciate them sitting through all that.
Absolutely. So, and thank you all for the work
Good
that
job.
you have done. All right, Director, did you want to give a comprehensive plan update?
Reader's Digest version. The Reader's Digest
It-
version, please.
It was interesting. I saw a slide or two in their presentation that I know I saw in the comprehensive plan as well. So it's they're tracking on the same page.
I was fascinated every time he brought up the senior quarters, he was looking directly at you, Chairman.
There was a reason for that.
Okay, well, hopefully eventually this will load. But in the packet, as I mentioned, the draft future land use map, which we went through a couple of meetings ago, and now the housing chapter is completed, a draft of it is completed. And we wanted to include that in there for the Planning Commission to take a look at and provide any feedback to staff on. You can also go to the website, which is hyperlinked on the Belton Comprehensive Plan 2050 logo on there, and provide comment as well as the future land use map. And we've also made some social media posts on that to hopefully get citizens more engaged in that process as we're developing the draft. And again, these will be released chapter by chapter. But first, the Housing and Neighborhoods chapter is the first one that's being released. I won't go through everything in here, but I just wanted to go over the overarching goals, just so the Planning Commission is aware of those. And then there's more detail for each of these goals in there. These goals are not anything different than what was presented to the commission, I believe, back in December or January, where we had an overarching conversation about the goals. But they do have more specific objectives and metrics in there. So please take a look at that and see if you have any thoughts or feedback on those. But there's 6 goals for the housing chapter. The first one is neighborhood identity strategies, and that's specifically focusing on the fact that Belton has very few homeowners associations, and sometimes those help create some neighborhood identity. So one thing that we're focusing on is the formation of neighborhood associations. You don't necessarily have to have an HOA with a lot of restrictions to still create a neighborhood association. That's really not so much about what color your house is painted or how tall your fence is, but it's really focusing on just building kind of a shared sense of community. And using that to kind of create new identity and sense of places in Belton neighborhoods. So some options there. Some of the metrics could be a neighborhood association toolkit creation, which is, we have an example in the packet of some other communities that have done that and have had success, kind of what that looks like. Staff helping to work with neighborhood associations on their formation, and then potentially exploring options of assisting them with developing neighborhood signage and or branding. In some cities that comes in the form of small grants that can be used to help with entry signage or new street signage that's specific to that neighborhood. So those are all things that we have entertained with that goal. Goal 2 is the housing needs assessment strategies. This is more of an in-house thing that we would look at, and it's really identifying the housing needs and the existing conditions of neighborhoods throughout the city, and that can help focus where we need to develop more programs or potentially grant funding for specific neighborhoods to help with housing rehabilitation. And that kind of rolls into goal 3, which is the housing rehabilitation strategies. Create a citywide home improvement program. A lot of cities utilize different federal grants for that. Community Development Block Grant is really common. That's not something that the city of Belton gets its own allocation because our population is under 50,000, but we could potentially work with the state Community Development Block Grant program for our own a sub-allocation from the state's program. And there may be other resources available to help with housing rehabilitation. We've had some success with housing rehabilitation in the Old Town area with the 353 program, but that program is not available citywide. Goal 4 is something that we're already working on, is the rental housing inspection strategy. That program is currently potentially, has been proposed to be delayed, the effective date delayed until January 1st, 2025. That's something that will be going to City Council next week to formally make that request. But that would start the rental housing registration and inspection program that improves the overall quality and safety for renters in the city. The next one is probably the most relevant specifically to the Planning Commission, and that's Goal 5, which is housing for all ages and income strategies. And that's specifically related more to the Unified Development Code updates that can help to encourage and promote various housing types. I think we saw a little bit of that this evening with the 2nd Street project being a different housing type than what we have seen in the past. Some things to look at are universal design. That is something that the city of Raymore has been pushing, and they've had some success with getting universal design housing, which specifically is housing that is built for all ages and abilities. Specifically for wheelchair access is really the most significant piece there. Most of our housing is not built it's built at a minimum ADA standard, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's completely livable if you are in a wheelchair. ADUs, which are accessory dwelling units, we've actually permitted several of those over the past year. predominantly on larger lots. Those are essentially sometimes they're referred to as mother-in-law quarters or granny flats, but those are smaller homes that are usually studio or single bedroom, bath, kitchen, homes that are placed in the backyards. We've had those, we've permitted several in the northeast part of the city on the larger 5 or 10 acre lot properties, but technically those are allowed on any single family zoning district. Generally it's a challenge getting those into more of our standard quarter acre lots, but that is an opportunity to build some additional housing in the city, especially for extended families. Identifying and creating a strategy to preserve naturally occurring affordable housing. That is specifically a challenge. Something that we have seen, for example, is the Lakewood Terrace Apartments that was built as a low-income housing apartment complex with over 200 units, recently turned over to market rate. So that's a loss of 200 affordable housing units in the city. We have a number of other older apartment complexes and multifamily units that were built in the 1960s and 70s that just with the increased growth and development pressures may eventually also become more attractive to investors that will be lost. So there is that concern of when those housing units are lost, where does our affordable housing stock come from to help lower income families remain in the community. Promoting senior-friendly housing is also a priority. That is something that was in the student presentation as well. We know that all of our senior housing is full with waiting lists, and so particularly affordable senior housing is a challenge as well. The last two, we have worked to add multifamily options with multiple bedroom units. This has come up, I believe this came up in some of our earlier feedback on the comprehensive plan, is that all of our new multifamily housing, particularly the apartment complexes, are all built with studio 1 and 2 bedrooms. There are no 3 bedrooms in either the Encore or Center 301. So our source of multi-bedroom units have been in the form of townhomes. So that is something that we have pointed out when we do have pre-application or pre-development meetings with developers who are proposing multifamily, is to have a wider range of options. We know the studios have been very popular, and we also hear that there's not enough 3 bedrooms. So instead of just focusing so much on 1 and 2 bedrooms, try to incorporate all different floor plans into those complexes. And then the last item under Goal 5, we know is a challenge in the community, and we have a homelessness committee that is focusing on this, but we need to continue to work with local and regional partners to help support the homeless population and find solutions on how to address that in the community. Goal 6 is increase housing diversity and supply strategies. This, again, is more on the Unified Development Code update side, but that includes encouraging context-sensitive infill development. We saw that that's a good example of the 2nd Street project, and I think we'll continue to see that in downtown, North Scott, other corridors that were predominantly developed pre-1980. How to redevelop certain properties, but in a manner that is sensitive to the surrounding community. Continue to actively seek partnerships with developers and to market Belton. We've done, I think, a great job of doing this over the last couple of years with our RFPs. We've done that for the Hales property. We also have the 2nd Street property as well as property on Main Street. And I'm sure there will be some additional city-owned properties that we will work towards putting out for residential development in the future. So those are, that's been a success for us, and that helps also show that we are encouraging and open to development in the city, to the development community, which does make us a more attractive location for consideration for development projects. Removing barriers and promoting increased missing middle housing. That is specifically related to some of the smaller scale multifamily. One thing that a lot of cities see is that their zoning codes, and even in our zoning code, It's very well set up for single-family homes and then larger apartment complexes, but trying to fit in different types of duplexes, row houses, townhomes, small apartment complexes like an 8-plex or a 6-plex can be difficult. And so a lot of developers just skip that altogether, and they will just propose a larger multifamily apartment complex as opposed to trying to build these smaller units, because their return on their investment is likely bigger, but that type of housing doesn't necessarily fit all the needs of all different family types that may be looking for housing. And then the last strategy on here is to consider adopting a form-based code for residential areas. So form-based code is similar to kind of what you see already on Main Street, where the buildings are built, all kind of built to a certain setback. But particularly this allows a little bit more not so open-ended to what could be built on a property. Particularly form-based codes work really well in a downtown area, where particularly on, for example, the 2nd Street project, where we were trying to encourage the use of the alley. So the parking is on the back and you utilize the front more for a front porch. So that is helpful in some of those infill situations and kind of gets back to that context-sensitive infill development. A lot of times parking and driveways can be a concern, but if you're really focusing on the design of the building from what you see from the street, sometimes you can build in more density that's not really noticeable from the street because the parking and the driveways and garages are on the backside. So there's a lot of different options of how to build that in, but all of those different strategies help to increase our housing diversity and our supply, which we know is needed in the community. So those are just the goals and the strategies. Again, the metrics are there on the right-hand column, and then each one of these go into greater detail within the chapter, but we've been here for almost 2 hours, so I don't think you want me to go into that anymore. But if you do, as you're going through it, have any questions, feel free to reach out to Jenna or I, and we're happy to answer any questions about this chapter.
And
definitely make sure to go onto the comp plan website and add any comments you might have or anything like that too.
Okay. And were there any final director comments this evening?
I do not have any. We do have a meeting on May 21st. We do not have any agenda items specifically for that. However, we may have some additional items to bring forward regarding the comprehensive plan and just some general community development updates related to different things that we're hearing in the planning world that we would like to bring forward to the Planning Commission. So I would still keep that on the agenda on your calendar for now. If we do decide to cancel that, we will notify you guys in advance.
All right, very good.
I hope so.
And,
'Cause I ain't got the last 2 of them.
and the final thing that I would like to make sure that we do tonight is to thank Mr. Powell. I see he's still back here for the park that he has gifted the city with. It is beautiful. I have seen people in there every time I've been by it, and I've heard from others how much they appreciate having that here on Main Street. So
It's not finished yet. So.
well, it's
I'll
looking
second that.
great, but thank you from our standpoint. So that's all I've got.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any